Alright, I think we are going. Let me make sure we're live and everything is working correctly. Alright, it appears to be. Okay. So today I'm going to be designing a new lure. I'm getting into muskie fishing, and most of my lures are targeting smallmouth bass out of river fishing, not muskie. Um, Muskie are a very big fish, so you're going to need a very big lure to entice them to hit. And really, what I'm thinking um, is like a grub that you might put on a jig head, except um, the the grub section, we'll call it, is hard 3D printed plastic, and the tail section is injection molded. So it's a hybridized bait, is what I'm thinking. So to do that, we're going to start by modeling the hard part of the bait first, and I'm going to want to do something like this. First, create a nice little rectangle. Gonna make this a construction line, and then we're gonna want another construction line up here. That'll be for the ridges of the grub there. And I'm gonna make this a construction line and do something like this. Yeah, I think that ought to do it. And I'm going to want this to be roughly an 8-inch long bait, including the tail. So, well, I want the body to be about. This can probably be about 6 inches. And then the tail, I would like to be a bit, the tail could be come up here, you know? Alright, I want this to be let's make it I have to think about how I want to do this, because I don't necessarily want this is gonna be a little more complicated than that, because I don't want the bait to be okay. I don't want the bait to be completely round. So I think what I want is more like, I'm going to change course here. Let's do this. And then this will make 18.05. That's 3/4 of an inch. And then we'll make this 1.5 times 25.4. Okay. I think that's good. Like that. Alright, that's good. And then I'm gonna want okay. Make a datum plane, and I want a 1/2 inch Why didn't it do it? Is it the X direction, maybe? No. Alright. 12.7. And then... So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up to do a pipe sweep. We'll make that. Well, first I'll hide this and hide this to make it easier to see what I'm doing. I'm setting up to do a pipe sweep. And then this, to keep the ratios all the same, is going to be 3/4 times 1.5. No, we could do this easier. Oh, that's just 19.05, 3/4 of an inch. And this would be 0.75. 19.035 times 0.75. Is that right? That's not right. Okay. 3 divided by 4 times 1.5 times 25.4. Okay. Make that horizontal. And we are good. So I'm setting these sketches up in order to do a pipe sweep. And if you don't know what that means, you soon enough will. But basically, I'm creating these sketches as the end cross sections of the body that I want to create. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Go ahead, hide the origin, select our datum plane, create a sketch. Or no, there's an easier way. I'll show you guys a little trick here. I want this sketch on this datum plane now. And the easiest way to do that, let's go ahead and delete that, is going to be to copy this, deselect these planes, and then do a control. You can copy and paste these sketches in the control frames. There we go. Paste. And now that sketch is inside that body. You need to drag it into the body. Now the sketch is inside the body. And then you come here, and where it says map mode flat face, click there. And then you select reference that datum plane. And now that sketch is copied onto that plane. So rather than going and reconstructing that, copy and paste. Alright, and next we need a sketch on, we're just going to do that real quick. Bang, bang. And then we'll do that. And that. And then hide the origin. There's our sketches for the pipe sweep. And now what we're going to do is grab, so I guess that's just an empty sketch. Alright, grab this guy, do additive pipe along this path, and we want it to be multi-section with this one and this one. That one and that one. Okay. And there's our body segment. Okay. There we go. And that's gonna be there's another way to do that that's gonna be easier in the long run, but that's what I want right now, because ultimately I'm going to need to cut this in half, and we're kind of going the long way to get there. Okay, we're good. Yeah, you know, we will do that. We're gonna save as lure molds, do a new folder, and we're gonna call it call it 8 in Muskie Grub. Body segment. Save. Alright. And now what we're going to do, this will make a little more sense further down the road, but Now I need to do File, New, and we're going to design the head section. So this will really be, how do I want to do that, the head section? Yeah, we can do that. All right. We're gonna do that same size arc we made, and this is gonna be 105 times 75, and then this here to here will be 19 1.5 times 25.4 times 3 divided by 4. And there we go. Okay, so there's that. And then I want to do a datum plane in the Z direction 25.4. Yeah, that ought to work. And I want it it's gonna get pretty small, but we'll make this 6.35 quarter inch. No, that's too big. 5 and 8. Alright, well, let's see what that looks like. Okay. No, that's not okay. That's not what I'm after. Alright, let's do this. here. We're going to find this sketch, copy that one, come back here, paste her in, and then do flat face, okay. And then, I see. Okay. And then we're going to try this. Alright, that's better. Yeah, that's better, I think. And we're going to call this the head segment. And then we're going to need to do the tail segment. And the tail segment's going to be pretty easy because we're going to come in here. I don't think I need that one. No. And then find this one. Okay. And then delete that. Undo that. Close that. File save segment. And now we're going to come in here. Do file save as tail segment. And then do a circle. A 10.05 circle. Close that. Let me think about that for a moment. That seems big. Let's make it 5/8. That looks a little bit better. Okay, file save. Close out of that, and then do file new, and now we're going to do the tail. And the tail will be the most interesting part to do, because we're going to start with the tail, and how we're going to do that is big old radius. I don't even want that there. We'll do a big old radius here like this. And another big old radius. Like that, and then another radius. Make these tangent. Alright, I need to lay down some ground rules. I want this to be roughly 4 inches. Okay. And this to be 4 inches. Okay, and I want the midpoint on the origin. All right. That should be pretty good. Oh shit, I'm tired. Okay. We're gonna make this and this, and then this, and this. Make that level. And make that 5/8. printable, and then I gotta figure out what I want to do with those. So I'll make that, and okay, I like that. That looks good. Make this tangent, make this tangent. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do, delete that. Okay. Do something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. I really like that. That's good. Okay. Alright, can't do that. Hmm. Okay. And then we'll come here and do that. Close. There's our sketch. I want this to be a pretty thin. We'll do 4 millimeters. Okay, that ought to work. And then we're going to do one of these guys. Okay. $15.87. 5 divided by 2. And then those two will be equal. And I would like something like that to be the case. Yeah. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do 25.4 times 4. And then we're going to move this something like there. Or you know what we'll do? We'll do one of these fellows. Send this equal. And then I'll make this and this. I didn't mean to do that. Let's make that and that tangent. And this tangent. Can't do that. Alright. How about we just make these two equal? And then something like this. Okay, that looks pretty good. Alright, and I'm actually going to do 2 dimensions, 2 and 2 to keep it on the center line. Alright. And then next, we're going to do sketch, and then bing bang, and then a center rectangle from there to there. Okay. And then datum plane. Seven. Sketch a 5/8 circle. Close that. And we will do a sketch on this face. Okay. Oh, come on. Why aren't you doing it? There we go. Okay, there we go. And then we go from Mr. Square to Mr. Circle. All right. File, save as. This will just be the tail. Save. Okay. All right. Now comes the fun part. File new. A2. Name this the Grub assembly. And then we're going to assemble starting with we'll start with the tail segment, and we're going to assemble the body. I want a body segment, and I'm going to want 4 body segments. And then the head. Okay. And I'm going to want that and that to accept. And then this is where it's going to get tricky, because I don't have a good way to tell it. Oh, you know what I have to do? Yeah. Whatever. We're just gonna do it like this. Brute force. Okay. Coming right along. Okay. And then this it should let me do. Oh, that's right. That's not a perfect circle. That I still made that an ellipse. And then we'll do placement. 0, 0. Okay. Why didn't you do it? Okay, there we go. And now we've got the body. And then we're gonna put in the tail just to see what it looks like. And this, it really should let me do this. Alright, there we go. So that's what we're going for. And then, so the idea is that this will all be printed. That head's a little big, isn't it? Is it just my eyes playing tricks on me, or is that... I think that's fine. Alright. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is go to the part workbench and join this and this, union, 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 and then that and that, union. And now we've got a solid piece from all of our segments. Okay, file save. And now I need to go back in and alright, so that's what the bait's gonna look like. Okay. And now what the plan is gonna be is I need to think about how I want to do. Alright, I know what I want to do now. I don't need that, I don't need that. We're going to do file new. And this is where things are going to get a little tricky in FreeCAD. Well, FreeCAD will be able to do it. It's just going to be oh, that's right. I'm right. We're gonna name this the thorax because it's just gonna be the body without the tail. Okay, and now we want to do the tail segment. And we'll flip around. Yeah, like that. And then we want 4 body segments. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the head. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Placement 0, 0. Okay. And then bang, bang, boom. And then placement 0, 0. Okay. Placement 0, 0. Okay. And then bing, bang, boom. 0, 0. Apply. Okay. And then bing, bang, 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 bang. Alright, we'll do this. Alright. Bing, bang. Okay. So 0. Alright. That's what I want. And then what I'm going to do is go to part and do this and this. Just like the last time. Union, union. We're unionizing. Okay. File save. And this is where things get tricky. Tricky. Part design, model. And we're going to create a body. With that as the base feature. And it should let me do what I want to do like this, but we're going to try. Alright, sketch. No. Okay, that's good. Hide the base feature. Create a sketch. And then I want to bring the base feature back so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Hide that now. And the idea here is going to be something to basically just lock in place that tail section from getting ripped out of the body. That's probably gonna be good. And we're gonna make these all equal, and we're gonna make those all equal, and then we're gonna do something like this. not. Ah, I see. We'll make that 6 as well. Okay, that's good. Show the base feature again. And then we're going to close that. Don't need that. Sketch. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. All right. And then now comes the fun part. Is that groove going? It is, isn't it? All right. Make this. Seven. Make that 5. Okay. That's still going to be plenty to grab onto in there. Okay, that's better. All right. File, save. This next part will be really fun. It doesn't look quite right, but I just think that's because of how it... Alright. Okay. Next steps. Do a sketch on this face. And... Okay. Alright. Now we got half the body. Okay. File, save. And this is where we cut the wheat from the chaff, as it were. Okay. How thick is this wire I want to use? Hold on, let me check this wire diameter. I'm gonna want at least, because this wire's not gonna bend easy. Let's make it let's make it 2 millimeter. make it a 2mm. And I'm gonna want 2 hooks. One here, and let's do one up here, and then one over here. Or I can even, yeah, let's do 2 hooks. One here, one there. Okay. All right. So we'll do a sketch. Make that 2mm. Okay. Yeah, that's fine for now. Okay. And then we're gonna do a sketch on this face. And make it a through wire. Let's make it easy on myself. 35 and 20. Look at that, I can make that. Okay. 35, 20. And I could always come back to this. Reference these later. Make that a radius. Make that a radius. Yeah. And then we'll make this 3. Make this 3. Oh, come on now. Alright. I don't want it that. 28. Yeah, that should be better. And then we'll come back here. And do 20. those equal and these equal. All right, go ahead and close that, and then we'll do our, come on. Swept pipe. Okay, that looks good for a through wire. And then I'm going to want to come in up here. We'll do that. And then do four. Three. That would just be 1 millimeter there. That's probably fine. Close. And then sure, why not? Okay. And then file save. And then okay. Need to get some weight in the head. So I'd want to do, let's see, where are my calipers? Where'd I put those at? We're going to do another datum plane. Datum plane. Okay. Where'd my, there's my calipers. And then this weight is by or should I use let me see what I got here. weight. A 9mm lead weight, we'll call it. That's what we're going to size it to work with, a 9mm lead weight. And I don't know if I want just one or two. We'll see. We'll see what works here. We're going to do a sketch. And it's going to be a circle. That'll be 9.5mm in diameter. And that should work out okay. What I'm going to do is this and this, and then construction lines, bang bang, bang bang, and then hide the datum plane, hide the body. That's good. Okay, and we'll do the same thing here. Make these, no, that's not what I wanted. Make these equal. Show the body again. And to stack two of these 9mm weights on top of each other, I need at least 33mm of length. So hopefully we've got that. Close that sketch. And then we're going to make this. Yeah, we're not going to have enough room in there. Okay. So what if I do one here and one back there? I could do one here, then one in the belly, and it would still be nose heavy. The center of mass would be right on that hook. You know what? Okay. Let's run with that. Let's show the datum plane, select, or no, we're gonna do that. Origin, that plane, datum plane, and then do this vertex. Okay. And then this sketch, copy that, uncheck all that, paste it in, drag it in, show it in, map mode, this plane, okay, and then hide the origin again, hide the datum plane, select the sketch, and then 17mm. Okay. That ought to do it. That ought to do it for that. And then bing, 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 bop, boom, bop, bam. Okay, and last, but certainly not least, we need to do the little pegs. So sketch, circle, circle, boom, 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 and then boom, boom, boom. And then we're gonna make them equal. And we'll make them 6 millimeters. And we're gonna make them 2.5. Okay. File save. And then that's the thorax. We've got it mirrored. Check that out. Okay. And then file new. Alright, should be able to hear me again. And then edit cylinder, we want the radius to be 2.75. And the height, we only want it to be 4.5, call it. Okay, and then okay. File save as peg. Save. And we're still not done yet. Because now I need to make the mold for the tail. This will be interesting. This will be very interesting. And you know what? On the thorax, I almost wonder if it's worth having I almost wonder if it's worth having like you know what, I am gonna do that because I have design control. If I do that, then it's going to be really hard to pick the plastic out of there. I'm not going to do it. Alright. Now I got the peg, and I got that, and I got this. So now I need to create the mold around this. Okay. This will be interesting. How big is this whole thing? So that this is gonna be a big, big bait. Okay, close that. Okay, file save. about a 2-inch radius. So 4 inches. So if I make it this is an intense bait. Okay. We'll make this 25.4 times 5. Okay, and then make this 25.4 times 5. And then I'm going to want it to be a 1/2 inch thick. No. Do I really need it to be an inch thick? That's a lot of material. Make it 7/8 inch thick. That's a lot of material for this. Alright. Tail mold. Save. Add the Grub assembly. Good God, that's a big bait. Transform. Is that even going to be big enough? It's not, because I want it like right there. Holy hell. And then right in there. Oh my God. This thing is huge. Okay. And then I need the pad to then be the pad sketch. Let's make it 200. Alright, that's just big enough. Wow, that is a big fucking bait. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna do I think I have to do 1/4-20s. I have to do 1/4-20s. Man, what a beefy. Or wait. Yeah, I could get away with 1/2 inch, because that's 3/4 inch. I could get away with 1/2 inch. And I'll inject it and come down. I'll make those 7mm holes. And where's the center of this rectangle at? Okay, and then we'll do this. We'll want these lines to be perpendicular. So probably like there. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. And then we're gonna boom, boom. You little bastard, don't you do that to me. Alright, we're good. We're good. Look at that, man. Okay, we're getting there. We're really getting there. Okay, file, save. And then we're gonna actually, you know what? I don't like that. Can I wonder if it's gonna let me do this. So I got that edge, and I got That's not good. Oop. Okay. And I'm going to want a pretty good radius on there, I think. Can I do more than that? Let's make it like 8. Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. Okay. And now we're gonna do the bing bang. Bing bang. Ah. Yeah. That looks so much nicer. Okay. Okay, we're good. We're getting there. We're getting there. And now we want to come in down from the top. With the injector. Edit cylinder radius, we want 8.25. That's for the nozzle. And then we're going to transform that sucker. Or placement. We're going to placement that sucker. And the X. Right about 45. Okay. Then we're going to do another cylinder. We're going to edit cylinder. We're going to make that radius, say, 3. Nah, make it 5. We want some real flow going through there. Okay, and then we're going to make the height pretty darn tall. Okay. And then we're going to placement 45. Okay. And then I need to go over a little bit and then down. So we're going to do another cylinder. And we're going to do edit cylinder. Radius will also be 5. And then position will be -40. And then Y will be -45. Oops. 0, negative, and then Z will be -45. +45, okay. 35. We'll get it one day, okay. And that's not quite. And then degrees. And I do want this to be 35, don't I? And then the height. Let's make it 20. And then we'll move it back. Yeah, that'll do it. And then copy and paste. Placement. Drive it down and see. Right there. And then we want it like there. And the height. Okay, edit cylinder. 2. Height will make 20. Okay. And that should do it. Might be able to make that radius bigger. That'll do. Okay. Alright. And we're gonna move it back slightly. That'll work. Alright. And then we're gonna do bang bang, boom, 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 and boom. Alright, we're looking good. Looking good. That's the mold. And now do a file save on those boys. Oh, I open that. I need to open that thorax back up. Yeah, okay. And then cut out, mirror. And look at that. Oh, that's a thing of beauty. That is a thing of beauty. Eating good in the neighborhood. All right. So I'm gonna get this printing on this guy. So to get it printing on my CR10, go to Orca Slicer. You guys won't be able to see what I'm doing in Orca Slicer, but what are you gonna do? And while that's opening up, we're gonna go to thorax, left hand file, export, new folder, step, save, okay, right hand file, export, save, okay. Now I go to Orca, prepare, file, import those. Lure molds, 8-inch musky worm, musky grub step, left, open, flat on face there, okay, file, import, right hand, open, flat on face, drag it over, okay, looks good. Strength, we'll do 7 walls. Top shell, bottom shell thickness, 3 and 3. Support enabled tree. PLA. Slice plate. Two hours, 40 minutes, print, upload and print. Alright. That's gonna be rolling now. Tail mold. Okay. Now, we're gonna rename this to right hand and this to left hand, and then file, export those. Okay. Go back to Orca Slicer. Delete, delete. Switch over to my Qt Q1 Pro. File, import. Left hand. Good lord, that's a big mold. I'm only going to be able to do one of these at a time. Okay. That is a left hand. Polycarbonate, strength 5.5. Those look good. Quality 2. Alright. Slice plate. 4 hours for that. Oh my goodness. 4 hours and 140 grams of filament. Alright. Oh, that's right. Go ahead. No, go ahead, print it. Upload and print. Make sure my device is... I gotta go make sure that printer's turned on. Hold on. That printer might be not be turned on. 1 second. Okay. Let's try that again. Why doesn't it want to do that? Okay, let's check it out. Octo Clipper. Photos. Do I have it on here? That is the correct IP. I am on the internet. Interesting. I'm gonna go turn that printer on and off, see what it does. over here. I can hopefully print. That CR10 is cruising already. Okay, that's alright. That's good. Upload and print that. And then hop on over to Bamboo Studio for the bamboo. Alright. New package available. No, not right now. File, import. Lure molds, 8-inch muskie, step, tail mold, right hand, I think is the one I need to print. Yeah, that's the left hand, so I need to print the right hand, lay flat on that face. Generic polycarbonate. 2mm. I want 5 wall loops. 2mm top and bottom shell with a honeycomb 10% infill, and we will go ahead and slice and about 4-hour print there, slice and print. That one is a doozy. Alright, now we'll jump on over back to FreeCAD. We're cooking. We are cooking. We got the stuff printing for our muskie bait. Oh, the one other thing I did need to do is print up a wire bending jig for that thorax. So basically, this is gonna be interesting. Oh, I don't like that. I hope that wire goes through there. I kind of messed that up, didn't I? I gotta fix that. pocket, datum pocket, subtractive pipe. It's going to be sketch 3. Boom, 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 boom. That's better. File save. That means I'm going to have to go back to the CR10 and stop what it's doing. It is cooking right now, though. That's alright. Do body, mirror, XZ, okay. Rename left hand. And then we do file, export, thorax body right hand, save, yes, yes, okay. File, export, body left hand, save, yes, okay. And then we close out of that, switch back to our CR10. CR10, where are you? Creality CR10 SE. File. Import those two. Objects. And then lay flat on face. Lay flat on face. That looks better. Global. Strength 7. 3 and 3. Support. Enable. Tree. File. Import. We gotta do the peg. File save. File save. File open. Peg open. File export. Go to the step folder. Peg save. Okay. Go back here. Open that. Objects. There's my little peg. Now I'm going to clone it. Okay. Slice. There's 38 minutes. The device, I'm going to... Alright. We're going to stop it right now. It's doing pretty good. Stop it. Yeah, it was doing pretty good. That would have turned out probably pretty well, which is nice. That's good because that's what I want. You want it to turn out pretty well. Alright. Come back. Print, upload and print. I think I really am. I think I really am done with the stream now. So there's our bait. There's our bait. We're gonna file, open, 8-inch Muskie, Grub assembly. That's it. That's the bait. Just a big old grub. It'll have some treble hooks coming out down out of here. And yeah, tail will be soft. I think that's gonna get eaten. That's gonna get eaten by a lot of muskie. I'll save. Alright, good stuff. Catch you guys on the flip side. We're gonna go ahead and end stream.